JavaScript, often just JS, is a high-level interpreted programming language that has become the backbone of modern web development. Alongside HTML and CSS, it is one of the three core web technologies used by virtually every website on the internet. Unlike a static page, JavaScript lets a website respond dynamically to user actions. It enables the creation of complex features and interactivity in websites and web applications. In practice, this means JavaScript can alter HTML, CSS on the fly to create things like interactive forms, drop-down menus, animations, embedded media, and live content updates without reloading the page. Modern browsers, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge, etc., all include built-in JavaScript engines, like V8 or SpiderMonkey, that interpret and just-in-time compile JS code at runtime. As one Britannica author notes, JavaScript has become truly ubiquitous, with over 98% of websites using it as of 2022. JavaScript was created in 1995 at Netscape Communications. In just 10 days in May 1995, programmer Brendan Eich wrote the first version of the language to make web pages more dynamic. Originally, it was called Mocha, then LiveScript, before being renamed JavaScript in December 1995 to capitalize on the popularity of Java. In 1996, Netscape submitted JavaScript to ECMA International for standardization. By 1997, ECMAScript 1 was released, laying out the formal specification of the language. Over the late 1990s, JavaScript steadily gained new features, with ECMAScript 3 in 1998 adding things like exception handling and regular expressions. The rise of dynamic HTML, DHTML, in the late 90s showed how JS, HTML, and CSS could work together to create animated, interactive pages. In the 2000s, tools like Ajax, asynchronous JavaScript and XML, and the jQuery library made richer web apps possible. In 2009, Ryan Dahl released Node.js, allowing JavaScript to run on servers, using Google's V8 engine. This was a turning point. JavaScript exploded beyond the browser into back-end web servers, databases, and even desktop apps. In the 2010s, the JavaScript ecosystem grew massively. New versions of the ECMAScript standard, ES5 in 2009, ES6, ES 2015 and 2015, added modern features, modules, classes, arrow functions, promises, etc. The same period saw the emergence of popular front-end frameworks and libraries, such as Angular, React, and Vue.js, that simplified building complex interactive user interfaces. JavaScript framework and library development has continued to drive the language's popularity. Today, most major websites and web apps rely on these tools. JavaScript is a scripting language with a dynamic, multi-paradigm style. That means it's high-level and garbage-collected, and supports event-driven, functional, and imperative programming styles. It is just-in-time, JIT, compiled by modern engines, so code runs quickly in the browser or Node.js. Variables in JS are dynamically typed, no need to declare types explicitly, and the language uses prototype-based object orientation. Crucially, functions are first-class. You can pass them around like any data, enabling powerful patterns like callbacks, closures, and higher-order functions. On the client side, in the browser, JavaScript has access to the Document Object Model, DOM, and browser APIs. This means JS code can read and modify the page content and styles on the fly. For example, a JS function can create new HTML elements, change CSS classes, or respond to user events, clicks, key presses, mouse movements. Modern JS also handles asynchronous operations via callbacks, promises, or async await. This allows web pages to fetch data from servers in the background, using fetch or other APIs, and update just part of the page without reloading. Importantly, JS's event-driven, single-threaded model means it can handle many tasks by queuing callbacks. Engines like Node.js use non-blocking I/O, so a single thread can serve thousands of simultaneous connections. On the server side, Order.js, JavaScript gains even more capabilities. Node provides APIs for file system access, networking, HTTP servers, databases, and more. The AWS blog notes that Node's event-driven, non-blocking architecture lets it handle and process highly scaled-up server responses efficiently. Because the same language, JS, can run in both browser and server, developers can share code and libraries across the full application stack. To manage complex development, thousands of JavaScript libraries and frameworks have been built. In fact, right after JS debuted, developers packaged reusable code into libraries, collections of useful functions. Over time, more comprehensive frameworks appeared. Unlike a library, a framework provides an opinionated structure for an app, making large projects more maintainable. Modern JavaScript frameworks dominate web development today. A Britannia editor notes that frameworks like AngularJS and React greatly simplified building responsive web applications and websites, and sped up development by enabling code reuse. The big three front-end frameworks are React, Angular, and Vue.js. React, by Facebook Meta, popularized a component-based, state-driven model in 2013. Angular, by Google, is a full-featured framework, rewritten in 2016 from the older AngularJS, that uses declarative templates. Vue.js, by Evan You, is a lightweight progressive framework, 2014, that is easy to integrate. These and similar tools help developers create dynamic single-page applications, SPAs, where content updates instantly as the user interacts. For back-end JavaScript, frameworks like Express or Nest.js, running on Node.js, provide routers and middleware to build web servers and APIs. There are also cross-platform frameworks. For example, React Native and Ionic allow building mobile apps in JavaScript, and Electron, used by apps like VS Code, lets you write desktop applications with JS, HTML, and CSS. The versatility of JavaScript means it's used in countless applications beyond simple web pages. Nearly every major website and web application uses JS. For example, Google's Gmail, Facebook, Twitter X, and Amazon's shopping site all use JavaScript extensively for interactive features. On the server side, companies like Netflix, Uber, PayPal, LinkedIn, Walmart, and even NASA use Node.js to power their back-end services. In fact, as one source notes, JavaScript is the universal language for building web applications, since it can run both front-end and back-end. JavaScript also runs many desktop apps via frameworks like Electron. For instance, Microsoft's Visual Studio Code, a hugely popular code editor, Slack's desktop client, and WhatsApp's desktop app are all built in JavaScript. In mobile development, tools like React Native or Ionic let developers write mobile apps, for iOS and Android, in JS. Many companies use these for cross-platform apps. JS even enters the world of games and graphics. Libraries like Three.js, a JavaScript 3D library, allow rich 2D 3D graphics in the browser using WebGL. Developers create browser games, data visualizations, with D3.js, Chart.js, etc., animations, and even virtual reality experiences with JavaScript. On the Internet of Things, IoT, and robotics side, frameworks like Johnny 5 or Node-RED let JS control hardware and sensors. And on the cutting edge, JavaScript now appears in machine learning, TensorFlow.js, and serverless/cloud functions, making it a true Swiss Army knife of programming. According to Britannica, JavaScript is an important technology in mobile development, games development, and the programming of Internet of Things devices, highlighting its broad reach. Surveys confirm JS's dominance. The 2023 Stack Overflow Developer Survey found JavaScript to be the most commonly used programming language for the 11th year straight, due to its versatility across front-end, back-end, and more. JavaScript's popularity brings many benefits to learners and developers. First, it's relatively easy to learn for beginners. Its syntax is clean and was even inspired by Java. But it doesn't require complex setup. You can start writing JS right in a web browser. Once you learn it, you can use JS everywhere, in browsers, on servers, on mobile, and desktops. This platform independence is a huge advantage. AWS points out that once written, you can run JavaScript code on any machine, making it very portable. Second, there is an enormous community and ecosystem around JavaScript. There are millions of JS developers worldwide. One source cites 13.8 million, and a vast library repository, NPM, with millions of open-source packages you can use. This means when you run into a problem, chances are high someone else has solved it and published a solution. According to AWS, JavaScript's popularity means it's used in almost every website and mobile app, and big companies rely on it, so there's no shortage of learning resources or job opportunities. Furthermore, JS lets developers reduce server load by offloading work to the client. For example, form validation or dynamic UI updates can happen in the browser instead of round-tripping to the server. Finally, JavaScript's evolving standard, ECMAScript, and the backing of a large community ensure it keeps improving. Features like modules, async await, and modern syntax ES6+ have made it more powerful and maintainable than ever. Major tech companies continue to invest in JavaScript tools. For instance, Google develops Angular and V8. Meta maintains React and Node. So learning JS puts you on solid ground for both web and software development careers. In summary, JavaScript is the ubiquitous web language. It started as a simple way to make web pages interactive and has grown into a full-stack powerhouse. Today, it drives the dynamic behavior in almost every website, powers server backends, and even builds entire applications on desktop and mobile. JavaScript's huge community, endless libraries, and constant innovation mean that anyone learning it will have enormous opportunities. In our upcoming videos, we will dive deep into JavaScript programming itself, from basic syntax and data types to advanced topics like asynchronous programming, frameworks, and best practices. Armed with the historical context and big-picture overview you've seen here, you'll be ready to start writing JavaScript code. Whether you're a complete beginner or an experienced developer in another language, you'll soon see why JavaScript is at the heart of modern programming.